don't get it messed up. Russ is one of the best players our league has ever seen, and there's still a ton left in that tank. I don't know why people tend to try to write him off. Russ and I have had some really, really great one-on-one convos, man, and the biggest word I think came out of those discussions were sacrifice. I'm gonna expect him to be the same tenacious, high-energy player that he's been on his entire career. A lot of it now may happen without the ball in his hand. Most of it now may happen on the defensive end. But again, we have to sacrifice. There's no achieving anything without all parties, sharing the load, sacrificing, and depending on one another.
No I in team, right? All right, Shannon, weigh in here. Does this convince you that the Lakers are indeed going to move forward with Westbrook this upcoming season?
Was Darvin Ham talking to the same Russell Westbrook that I heard give that exit interview and blame everybody except taking ownership of any responsibility in what he did?
That guy.
He must talk with somebody else. Oh, he must have left him a voice. Maybe he called him on his phone, Skip, left him a voice message and said, these are the things that I'm expecting from you. No, Skip, it does not convince me. And just because they haven't, that doesn't mean they're not going to still working behind the scenes to try to trade Russell Westbrook. And as you said, $47.1 million makes it very, very difficult for you to trade a player of Russell Westbrook's caliber, considering what he is at this juncture. Darvin Ham is absolutely right. Skip, he's one of the top 75 players of all time. So clearly, just by that recognition alone says that he's one of the greatest players to ever play in the NBA. There's only been about 5,000 or 6,000 players, if I'm not mistaken, Skip, that ever played. He's in the top 75. So clearly he's a great player. But you heard sacrifice. That means you're doing it without the ball. That means you might have to do it on the defensive end. Something that you expect that man to do that without the ball in his hand. He's had the ball. Why the hell you go there? Why you go there? Skip, why would I ever, let's just say for the sake of argument, I'm a tight end. Why the hell would I go to New England when they got Gronk and Hernandez and I'm up there complaining about, Skip, I ain't getting no balls? What the hell you expect? They got two guys that's Pro Bowl. One in my discussion, in my opinion, he's the greatest tight end to ever play. And Hernandez, without his issues, the talent was there. Ain't no denying that. But I'm going to go there and just wonder why I can't catch any balls. You go to the Lakers and you wonder why you ain't got the ball in your hand when they got a guy that got 10,000 assists and got over 35, 36,000 points. Who you think they want the ball in your hands or LeBron? Darvin Ham said, we need sacrifice. Sacrifice. Are you willing to sacrifice? Herb Vogel mentioned that sacrifice, and he said it. Yeah, they said Russ be Russ, but they didn't mean that. That didn't happen. You saw the game. Yeah, because we're going to see. Anyway, in a way, Skip, I want him to come back because I want to see how much he's willing to sacrifice. I want to see, because Skip, everybody says they want to win. But what I found out in my 14 years of being around the NFL, everybody wants to win, but I want to win my way. You know what I'm saying, Skip? I want to be in a relationship, but I want everything to go my way. I want to go on vacation when I want to go, where I want to go. I want to go out to eat, but I want to go eat what I want to eat. That ain't no sacrifice.
Nope.
If you doing exactly the same thing, if you go to a team with other great players, and you do the exact same thing you did before you got it, that ain't no sacrifice. Sacrifice requires you to give up something. That's what a sacrifice is.
So, what I heard from Darvin Ham in his first session with the Los Angeles Lakers media yesterday was extraordinary.
Sounded good, though, didn't it?
Darvin Ham went hard. You might say that Darvin Ham went ham. You might say that, right? You might.
You might.
So, he starts off with the quote about, don't get this messed up. Russell Westbrook is one of the best players our league has ever seen. Once upon a time, he was. I'll give you that. And there's still a ton left in the tank. I don't know why people try to write him off. Well, maybe it's because I look at these numbers. He did average 19, 7, and 7, but he should have led the league in total turnovers, but he didn't play the last 3 games, and so Trae Young overtook him, and it was 303 to 295. But much of the year, Russ led the league in turnovers. Turnovers per game, if you want to do it that way. He finished dead last in three-point shooting last year at 29.8%. He couldn't even break 30% from three. From the free throw line, he continues to go south because he finished at 66.7% from the free throw line. That ranked 108th of 112 free throw shooters. And you know who the bottom guys were. They're the big guys who can't shoot.
But Russ at one point, Skip, was in the 80s.
In his career,
yeah.
Yes, not last year. But
yeah.
I don't know what's happened to it at the free throw line. He used to be passable. He used to be
80%. Skip 80%, 8 out of 10.
It was good.
Yes.
It was good. I don't know what's happened. So now he's a liability at the free throw line. Okay, so then it was pointed out that Russ actually showed up yesterday to support Darvin Ham at his introductory media conference.
Yeah.
So he's standing to support. All you need to do is show up. If you show up, that means you bless this man.
Right.
Okay? And then here we went with more explanation. Russ and I had some really, really great one-on-one convos, man. Well, isn't that what Magic had suggested?
Right.
That they sit down and I don't know if they went to dinner in Beverly Hills or I don't know what it was, but it's multiple because he said plural convos.
Yes.
Okay? So they've had some big heart-to-hearts. And he's then I'm thinking, okay, and then he goes to, and the biggest word I think came out of that in those discussions was sacrifice. I can't put Russ and sacrifice in the same sentence. I know he tried to sort of subjugate his game into the LeBron AD universe.
Right.
He tried to find a place in the universe.
Yeah.
But then this is the one that knocked me over. He said, I'm going to expect the same tenacious, high-energy player. I give Russ that on the offensive end.
Yeah.
That's who he is, that we've seen his entire career, Darvin goes on. But he says a lot of that now may have him without the ball in his hand. Really? Russell Westbrook without the ball in his hand is going to be an unhappy camper.
Thank you.
I think. And then he goes on to say, Darvin Ham, most of it now may have to be on the defensive end.
Oh, yeah, good luck with that.
When has Russ ever gone tenacious, all out hard on the defensive end? Like never? So you're asking him to completely restructure his game around moving without the ball
and playing defense.
Well, that sounds like a sixth or seventh man to me. It doesn't sound like one of the big three.
Right.
He calls him part of the big three. But I'm thinking, who did you sit down with, and what magic did you hypnotize him to get him to come and support you and bless your arrival in L.A. after I guess you told him in these lengthy convos over dinner that I need you to move without the basketball, stay out of LeBron's way, and I need you to play a whole lot more defense, that most of your energy needs to be expended on the defensive end.
Right.
And Russ came and blessed that? Or did Russ hear that come out of his mouth at the media session and think, what am I doing here?
You're like, that ain't what we talked about.
That's not what, no, seriously, because I don't think that's what they talked about or Russ wouldn't have come, right?
Yeah.
And it does seem clear to me, and I think it's becoming clearer to you, that the mandate in hiring this man was you have to fix Russell Westbrook. You have to sort of reprogram him so you can get the best out of him.
I believe the mandate was you got to hold Russ accountable.
Okay.
Frank Vogel ain't holding him accountable.
All right.
Because last year when he got there, what did Russ say? Sacrifice. You know, you willing to sacrifice.
Man. Okay. So Darvin Ham goes on, and he says, defensively is where you're going to see our biggest leaps and bounds. Well, that's a mouthful now, leaps and bounds on defense. Just 2 years ago, they were #1 in defensive efficiency.
Yeah.
And I don't know, Pelinka said yesterday, I think one of the things we lacked last year was an identity of toughness. Okay, I'll buy that. I don't know where it went.
Yeah.
I
guess that's why that's why you hire Darvin Ham and you get Rasheed Wallace as an assistant.
Okay.
Because everybody know what she was.
All right, so I continue. So then Darvin goes into his background. We talked about it before, Saginaw, Sag Nasty, all that. He said, I was shot in the face by accident, April 5th, 1988. You go through something like that, it's going to be one of two things. It's going to make you fearful or fearless. It made me fearless. I don't feel no pressure. It's basketball. I'm here for this challenge. And then he goes on to say, I've seen real pressure in life, so to me, this is fun. And he said, this is something that's going to be joyful. And then he goes into prediction mode, and he said something that we're going to look back on and remember those days when we were popping bottles of champagne somewhere celebrating another banner going up. So I consider that a championship prediction, right?
Yeah.
Okay, whew, there's some mouthfuls in here, and we haven't even gotten, we'll deal with it in a few minutes here on the show, but he basically told LeBron, you can't play as many minutes as you've been playing because I'm going to try to preserve the wear and tear on you.
Well, that's what they do with Giannis. You see Giannis playing somewhere around 33, 34, maybe 33, 34 minutes.
Okay, well, I'm just not sure LeBron's going to love that because he wound up last year playing the 5th most minutes in the league per game.
Well, Skip, he won't play that many minutes if they're winning and he can get a chance to, sit out midway through the fourth or the entire fourth quarter. Yeah, but when those games are nip and tuck, you just think about it. You mentioned, there are a lot of games that LeBron could have closed. Well, in order for him to be closed, he's going to have to be in there late for the ball game, and so you're piling up those minutes. And you remember what, Skip, like 3 or 4 games, they went to like overtime, double overtime, and triple overtime.
Okay, so I told you to open the show, half tongue-in-cheek, there's a new sheriff in town. Well, I think Darvin Ham thinks he is the new sheriff out of Saginaw, right? Where
I like it.
I'm here. And I'm going to take control of this team. I'm going to take control of Westbrook, and I'm going to show him the new way that this is going to have to be done.
Right.
And I'm going to take control of LeBron's minutes and say, you just can't play the kind of minutes you want to play. Because the LeBron I have closely observed over the last, 5, 7, 8 years, he just puts himself in and out of games. When he feels like it, you know what? I got no problem with that because he has earned the right to coach himself on when he wants to be in and out of the ball game, depending on how his body feels.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, I would like to see him play 32, 33 minutes of ball game, Skip. You start getting like 36, 37.
Somebody's going to crack down here and say, hey, no.
37 too many, though, Skip.
Okay. Well, it's a lot because it was.
And at his age. Now, it's not, Skip, it's not a lot. You 30.
37.2.